Welcome guys once again. This is Velo Engineering Services, and I'm very sure you guys enjoyed my previous video when I'm talking about cracks on stamped concrete. Now today I'm going to talk about a very exciting topic of stamped concrete. Now, let me ask you guys, what is the most important part of stamped concrete, or let me say in all other work general? You guys might be thinking about stamp concrete. The most important aspect is how you stamp your work, or how you mix your concrete, or how you apply your color hardener, or how you plan your work. The most important aspect is getting a good measurement and writing down your quotation. Now, today I'm going to throw a huge bonus to my followers. Today I'm going to talk about measurement and also how to write quotation for stamp concrete. I know many people will have asked me how can I write a quotation, what materials will be needed for this, how many quantity of material will I need for this measurement, this and that. So today I'll be addressing that issue. So from this video, I'll give you a guideline, a principle that you can follow due to my years of experience in stamp concrete. So it's left to you so now to utilize it and make good use of it. So now let's go on. So firstly, let's talk about measurement. Now, in Nigeria here, in stamp concrete, we do focus on square meters. We use meters in our measurements. So when we are talking about measurements, we have square feet. Sometimes you can use feet or meter, but precisely we do go with meters here in Nigeria. I can say, but in other places like the UK, America, London, they use feet, while some also use meters. So now, when you're taking measurements, you have a compound, and the compound is around 120 by 60 feet. That is a plot of land here in Nigeria. You bought a plot of land, and you have a huge structure on it. There's one interesting part of it. So people might think I have a plot of land which is 120 by 60 feet, so square feet. So and I have a huge building on it. So what I think I should have left is around 100 to 150 square meter year round. 120 by 60 feet of a compound is equivalent to 600 square meter. Yeah, if I'm correct. And 100 by 50 feet is equivalent to 500 square meter. So when we talk about measurement, you need to get a good measuring device. You can use a measuring tape. There are some applications that comes up that you can use for measurement. I won't recommend any application, but I do prefer the manual aspect using the measuring tape. You measure using area. You are looking for the area. So after you have a structure on the plot of land, what you want to measure is the work area, the space remaining after that structure. That is what you want to measure. And the most interesting part of it is most of the time that space remaining is far more than the one the structure is sitting on. Yeah, you heard me right. In measurements of a compound, most of the time the space remaining is more than the structure standing. Many people will not believe until you measure it yourself. You can try it, but it depends on how many structure you have on that land. That's also determined. But in most cases, when you have just one structure, that small space you're looking at is far more than the one the structure is sitting on. So now you take your tape, you measure length and breadth. You divide all the segments of the compound into a rectangle where you have your length and you have your breadth. Every corner, anywhere you face in the compound, make sure you divide it into a rectangle. Now there are some places that will have a shape of triangle, like they are narrow places, some places are wide, some places are thin, it is narrow like a triangle. You can also use the formula for area of a triangle, which is half base times height. Now you measure the width. You can just go to the middle of that triangle, you measure, or go to the widest part of the triangle, you measure it. If it is 10 meter, for example, the widest part, which is 10 meter, you divide it by 2, which will be 5. Then you measure the height, that is the length of the triangle. You also measure it, you understand, then you multiply it together. You use convert everything to either a rectangle or a triangle. That is how you can measure. Use length times breadth. So you make sure that you have a good measuring device. So measuring your compound is very important. So to cut the long story short, that's one of the way you can get a measurement in a compound using a good measuring device. There are so many applications on your phone that when you apply it on the land, it will give you the measurement in length, or when you turn it to wherever you want it to give you the measurement in meters. So from there, you can calculate the meters. So once you finish all the calculation, length times breadth, you move to another side, you measure it. What is the length here? What is the breadth here? You face another side, you cut every part into a rectangle. Then you sum everything up after multiplying them, you add them together, you get your full square meter. That is, you'll be measuring in meters, so you have your square meters. For furthermore explanation, you can contact me for that. Nothing is free. So now let's move on. After you've gotten your measurement, let's go to how to draft a quotation. Let's go here. So guys, let's continue. How to draft a quotation. Quotation differs depending on the person drafting it. We have different kind of people that can draft their quotation the way they want, but I will give you my own experience. Mine might not be the best, it might not be the ultimate, but I'm very sure you might be satisfied with it. Now, when you go to write a quotation and you've gotten your measurement, I'll use it as an example of 250 square meter as an example. Now, if you want to write a quotation, first thing is what are the things you need for your stamp concrete. After the preparation has been done, after you've gotten your measurements, what you need, the materials you need, that's one of the most important aspects. So I'm going to use 250 square meter as an example. So you have a land of like maybe a plot, there is a structure on it, and you've taken your measurements of the compound, what is left in the compound, and even the terrace outside the compound, the entrance of the compound, where the driveway where the vehicle will enter. Most of the time, from the gate, I do take 1.5 meters or 2 meter from the entrance of the gate outside the compound. I use either 1.5 meter or 2 meter as the boundary. So it depends on you. So now you've gotten your measurement, and I'm going to use 250 square meter. Now let's take note of the materials you'll be needing. The first thing you will need cement. You first list out the materials you might need for the stamp concrete. Now, for example, like me, I will list them out. I will need cement. I will need granite. I will need sand. I will need iron range, which is 3 inches by 1.5 inch. I will need bulletin sheet. I will need wire mesh, which is which is might not be necessary, but not everybody use my wire mesh, depending on what your customer wants. So I also need adequate water. I will also need accommodation, depending because I might be going to another location. That's for section A. Now for section B, I'll be needing the color hardener, the polish, the anti-release agent, and the stamp design. So as for you, the person that is doing your work, you must have your tools, which are your cutting machine, the edger, the roller, the brush, the shiny trowel. All those ones are tools which you that you want to do the work must also provide by yourself. So wheelbarrow, shovel, that one depending on the site, the area, how to provide also. So I've listed out section A and section B, the materials you need. So now let's draft out the quantity. For example, for 250 square meter, if I am to do it for the sand, I can either use sharp sand or stone dust. Oh, please take note, stone dust is more expensive than sharp sand, but it's far better than sharp sand. The quality is better than sharp sand. And also, when you're using stone dust, there are different quality of stone dust. So don't just go and buy any stone dust. If you end up buying any stone dust, you might buy the wrong one, which will even be far worse than using ordinary sharp sand. So If you can get a good one, then I will probably say you should go for sharp sand. So now, the sharp sand that we'll be needing will be within 40 to 45 tons of sharp sand. Supplying of sand granite are measured in tons. So most people do use, they will see a truck, uh, fi- 4 tire, 15 tires, stuff like that. But the most proper and adequate one I am familiar with is using tons. That normal tipper that you see might not carry more than 7 tons, but it will tell you it is 10 tons. But the weight itself is not more than 7 or 8 tons. It is in rare occasion. If you want to see a vehicle that will carry 10 tons, that 4 tire tipper will not be used. They would rather use a bigger vehicle of 15 tons to carry sand of 10 tons. That is when you have a complete 10 tons. So if you use that small tipper and they tell you that they are bringing you 10 tons, my guy, it might not be correct because that vehicle itself will not carry 10 tons for you because the load they are carrying will be more. The place they are bringing it where they are going, they won't also want to risk it. They already carry 8 tons or 7 tons. So if you pay them well, they will tell you the truth. They will give you exactly what you want. But if you are doing arrow row, let me put it like that. So if you are doing arrow, like you're bargaining too much, they will tell you, don't worry, we'll bring it for you. Whereas they will later bring what they feel is right. So now, for sand, we're needing within 40 to 45 tons of sand. For granite, if I'm to do 250 square meter, I will be needing within 20 to 25 tons of granite, which is half-inch size of granite. That is the smallest size of granite. For cement also, I'll be needing around 100 bags of cement. Yeah, 100 bags. I won't specify the brand of cement that's the best, but for me, uh, I do use elephant. Yeah, elephant. I would I would recommend elephant cement. Lafarge, yeah, Lafarge is the best. As for me, depending on your work, what you want to do. But we are talking about strength. If you want something that will dry easily, that dry quickly, for you to get your quick results, you can go for Dangote. But if you're looking for something durable that will last long, I also prefer Lafarge. So now, let's move on. I'm just giving you this as a standard. So it depends on you, the measurement you have, and also this quotation I'm giving you is used by me depending on the thickness of the concrete I want to get. But by this quotation I'm giving you, the least thickness you have is 3 inches, while the highest will be 5 inches. In some places, the thickness will be up to 5, while in some places, the thickness will be just 3 inches. Now, let's move on. I've talked about the quantity of sand that will be needed for 250 square meter, which is uh, I think 40 tons. Yeah, I've talked about granite, which is within 20 to 25 tons of granite, half-inch granite. And I've talked about the cement, which is 100 bags of cement. Then you must have adequate water. Then the iron range, you will have about for 250 square meters, I'll be needing about 13 pieces of iron range. Strong iron range. Yeah, strong one because they are light one, they are semi-thick one. But a strong one will not bend easily. Will make your work straight. Will make work easy for you and give you good results. But if you are doing arrow, like you want to manage your expenses and you go and buy light one, you will get your result. To affect your work, it might even disrupt your balance and make everything go astray. So I will advise you to buy the strong one. I will be needing 13 pieces of it, which is 3 inches by 1.5 inch. With that, you'll be rest assured for a good job. Now, I also need an iron peg, iron rod. Now, you can get a 10 full length of iron rod, which is around 10,000 naira or 12,000 naira thereabout. Now, you cut it into smaller pieces like 1 foot each. You might have about 40 pieces or 38, 36 pieces from a full length. You use it as a peg, but you must be very careful not to burst pipe under the sand. Now, after your iron rod, uh, adequate water, there must be good supply of water in the compound because you need a lot of water. Then you also need your hose. The hose is what you connect to the tap and put it on the mixing sand, granite, and cement that we have on the ground. work easier rather than using bucket and keg to go and fetch water to pour inside the mixing machine. That will be very tedious and it will take your time. But when you plug your hose into the tap and put it on the uh, cement, granite and sand, it will make your work more easier. Now, let's go to section B. For section B, if I have 250 square meter, the color I do produce is 28 kg, sometimes 30 kg, depending on what my customer wants. In some cases, maybe the customer wants 30 kg or even 35 kg because they want to package it, they want to reduce the quantity due to because they are taking it to a very long distance. Maybe they are taking it to Ghana or to Zimbabwe or other parts of the country. So sometimes I do package it even in 40 kg or 35 kg so that the quantity will be reduced. Once the quantities are reduced, the cost of transport will also be reduced. But within Nigeria, the normal standard I use is 28 kg or 30 kg at most. Now, with that quantity of 28 kg, I do use it for a 20 square meter. I do use it for 20 square meter. So now for 250 square meter, I'll be needing 13 pieces. Yeah, I can say 12.5, but I'll be needing 13 pieces to stay on the safer side. Now with that quantity of color now, I'll be able to shine my work twice. Shine it properly, the first layer and the second layer. Now, let me talk about the antique release agent. I do use my antique release agent for one bag or one bucket of it. I do use for 150 square meter. So now for 250 square meter, I'll be needing two. Yeah, it's better if you have something sufficient than something that will not be enough. So don't try to reduce. It's better you buy a little more than buying a little less. So I'll be needing two bags or two buckets of it. And for my polish, I do polish my work. I use my polish in 20 kg. And the polish goes for 50 square meter. One of my polish is exactly 20 kg and it will go for 50 square meter. So now if I'm having 250 square meter, I'm needing five pieces of the polish. Now, so the stamp design, you can choose any stamp design of your choice. So that is how I do write my quotation. So uh, if you need more explanation or more guidance or guideline on quotation writing, you can contact Bello Create Engineering Services. Just message me on WhatsApp. We'll get it done for you. We have exclusive and VIP quotation also. So I can draft out also those ones on how the job will go, the numbers of days it might take you, how everything goes step by step. I can draft out that also for you. But and can also that's a higher grade, VIP grade. But nothing is for free. So come to my inbox and be saying, please, I'm your fan. No, I want you to draft out this for me for nothing is free. So this one I'm just giving it out to you guys as a bonus. So thank you guys for watching my video. Now you can also like my video, share my video, uh, and also contact me on WhatsApp for proper conversation. Now, thank you guys and stay blessed.